What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 3 tips for quarterbacks to be more accurate, okay? So we're going to be looking at a throw from Tom Brady with his time with the Patriots, then we're going to be taking a look at a throw from Mac Jones. We're going to be talking about the similarities that they both have in their motions, which makes them very accurate passers. So I hope this video helps you guys out, but also, fellas, if you guys have not heard, we are going to be traveling to 9 different states this offseason for our 2-day-long quarterback and wide receiver training camp series. So we are going to be coming to Tampa, Florida, Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys want some more information on our camps, what we're going to be offering at the camps, we're going to be doing live 7-on-7 for you guys, quarterback-specific drills, wide receiver-specific drills, everything that you could think of to help your skills improve for 2 days, 4 hours each day on the field. So check out that very first link below if you guys are interested in working with us close to one of those areas or are looking into traveling to one of those areas. We would appreciate it. Spots are limited. Let's get started with this video. So first things first here with this throw from Tom Brady is that he's able to get that back foot completely anchored down. He's able to transfer his weight. So the first tip, and it ties into the second tip, first tip to be more accurate with your throws is to have that clean weight transfer with your lower body, okay? Then the second tip to be more accurate with your throws is being able to stay square with your upper half, but they both go hand in hand. So let me explain. So when I go to throw, this is the perfect position that you always want to be in. Quarterback coaches love to teach you want to be 60-40, or some guys like to say 50-50. You want to have this super wide base. This is the perfect spot to be in. Back leg is underneath your back shoulder, not super underneath to where your feet are like standing, like you're almost like a pencil where you're just standing straight up. Back leg is underneath your shoulder. You get some weight on that back leg. It's completely anchored in the grass, and you have your weight kind of shifted back. All his weight is loaded on that back leg because he knows that that weight transfer forward is what's going to get his hip to open up. When you could get your front hip to open up, that's going to make your back hip rotate through, and that's when you get your hips to go through before the ball, which will give you torque, but will give you accuracy. Let me explain how that will give you accuracy, but that's the concept. That's why we want to be here. Now, as a quarterback, we are rotational athletes. It's like a baseball player when you're hitting a baseball. It's like a golfer when you're hitting a golf ball. You got to have that torque. You got to have that dissociation, as people like to talk about, right? So as a quarterback, I'm either going to rotate through with my hips or do something that so many other quarterbacks do, is rotate with their shoulders, which is what causes them not to be accurate. So when Brady goes to make this throw, you see how he's shifting that weight. He's got weight on his back leg. He's not pushing off the back foot. He's shifting his weight. He shifts the weight from the back leg to the front leg, and he gets that weight to the outside part of the front leg. That's what gets his hips to rotate through. Now, when your hips rotate through, you don't feel the need to swing your front elbow down or swing your shoulder out like so many quarterback coaches teach you. Quarterback coaches are all about generating power. That's what everybody loves to talk about, right? And a lot of guys teach you the wrong ways. They teach you to swing your elbow down. They teach you to take your front shoulder and replace where it is with your back shoulder. That's not how throwing works. That's not how you hit a baseball either. You don't chop at a baseball. You don't swing way open on a baseball. You let your hips go through. You let the weight transfer go through. In baseball, it's like when you pivot that back bug. In golf, when you pivot off that back foot, it's the same idea. It's all about weight transfer, getting that weight to your front side so your hips can rotate through. Because when you swing your front elbow down to generate power, what do you think that's going to do to your release point? Your body's on a midline. It's your spine, right? So when your elbow swings down, what do you think your arm's going to do? Your arm's going to fly up, and you're going to have this real high release, and you're going to come down on the ball. You're going to be swinging across. And that's why that thing goes to the ground sometimes, and that's why that thing shoots over the receiver's head. So if we can rotate at my hips and I leave my front hand kind of by my collarbone, a good trigger phrase that I like to say is you want to bring your right shoulder to your front hand, or you want to bring your chest to your front hand, however you want to think of it. But that helps you keep that front hand nice and tight, and you don't swing your elbow down. Because when you dip that elbow, the release goes high. Now, another thing that makes people throw, and when people miss left to right, is because they do that rotate and replace. So guys will get to this spot right here. They'll get their front foot down, and then they think that they have to take their front shoulder, in this case it would be Brady's left shoulder, and put it where his right shoulder is. I call it rotate and replace. Now, the problem with that is it's the same thing. When you're on the midline with your body and you're not rotating with your hips, like maybe you don't transfer your weight, maybe your back foot is too far behind your frame. That's another way that guys won't be able to transfer weight. Maybe your hip locks out. And then so you start to swing this shoulder open. Well, guess what happens because you're on that midline? Your arm's going to fly as well. So you're going to be coming across your body. So if you're a quarterback who throws sidearm a lot, maybe try to check your front side. Maybe don't open up your front side super early. Try to stay square to the throw. What do I mean by staying square? You want to keep your shoulders and your hips completely parallel to that target so your release point can be in a consistent spot, fellas. So that's the first 2 tips to be able to be more accurate and be a more accurate passer, okay? So now the third tip ties into all this because you could have the same thing. You could have a great weight transfer with your lower half. You could have that hip rotation. You could stay square with your upper body. You could have a good clean release point. But if you're not flicking that wrist and like throwing at a dart dartboard, you're not going to be consistent, because when all this is consistent, then it's just all about your wrist. It's all about trusting your hands. So can I trust my hands to the throw? When he's throwing this ball to Edelman, is he going to trust his hands to this spot? And you see how when Brady lets this thing go, he's extending, right? When you extend at the target like you're throwing at a dartboard, some people like to say like you're flicking a booger at somebody, whatever it is, when you extend, that's what will put that ball right on that money for you when your mechanics are clean. A lot of guys try to extend, but because their front elbow goes down, they release it too high. Because their shoulder opens up, they release it behind because they're too early. It all kind of depends on what your motion is, but it starts with the lower body and where the back foot is anchored. Now, one of the key mistakes, and I'll get into this throw from Mac Jones here, is that quarterbacks will have this back leg super wide, and guess what? When you're super wide, you're maxed out on how much weight you could have back there. You could only have about 50%. So when you go to transfer, all that weight's already on your front leg, so what's going to happen is your back foot's going to trail behind, your front hip won't be able to rotate through, and so guess what you do? You swing your shoulders, and that affects the release point, you guys. You got to make sure that we have that back leg anchored underneath your frame so your hips can rotate through. Let's think about staying disciplined in the upper half, front hand by your collarbone, bring your chest to your front hand, stay square, and then let's think about flicking that wrist. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Brady transferring his weight and getting that ball to go through, putting this thing right on the money in an accurate spot. So now I said we're going to look at this throw from Mac Jones. I just want to point out the similarities, right? So see where his back foot is, right? Back foot's underneath that back shoulder, because now we're trying to get that front hip to rotate through. And one of the things that Mac Jones, I feel like when he was at Alabama, he struggled with, and I feel like he's better at it now with the Patriots, is where his weight was transferred. He would have this super wide base, and his back foot would be super wide, and it looked like he wasn't getting a ton of pop on the ball. But if you can get your back foot under your frame to be able to get your front hip to open up, that's what can allow your release to go. And you see, again, front hip's opening up. Ball is trailing his back hip. That's the clean spot. Where's he at? Front hand is by, or shoulder is going to the front hand. Front hand's by the collarbone. And then when he finishes, he's nice and square with his upper body. Those are the key consistent points, fellas, that we have to get to as a quarterback to be more accurate. Let's watch through again from Mac Jones one more time. Same similarities, same foot strike, same hip rotation, and being able to stay square. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We'll get back to you as soon as I can. Always appreciate the feedback. And again, fellas, we're going to be coming to 9 different cities this offseason: Tampa, Houston, Phoenix, Newark, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and Los Angeles. All coming at you guys this offseason. Would really love to have you out there. Again, spots are limited, and we have a lot of interest in these camps, fellas. So again, they're not going to be available for forever. Check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.